welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
If we ever had a chance to be number one, I think this is the one to do it, because we've got the greatest Marvel character to ever exist in this book today.
That's right. We are doing Marvel Team Up Annual 4 from 1981. And that character you were referring, why don't you say his name, Jank? Tell everybody.
Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
This is the first and only appearance of Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
That's a real shame. I don't know why they've been sleeping on this guy, but somebody's got to bring this guy back. He should be the focal piece of the next event comic.
Yeah. Like an Oktoberfest theme with Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. Yeah. Marvel Team Up. I forgot to do research on Marvel Team Up, but we've talked about it before on the show, right?
Yeah, sure.
It was just a book in the 70s through to the early 80s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like 83-ish, where they would put
I don't know if it was initially, was it always supposed to be Spider-Man and somebody else, or was it supposed to be different heroes and they realized, hey, Spider-Man sells the most? So.
And this is why I really should do research. I want to say the Human Torch was involved early on, right?
Oh, okay.
And then Spider-Man.
He's popular.
And this is the part of the show where we Google things. No, we're not going to Google anything. We're just going to go. But yeah, Spider-Man was the main attraction here. They would always put another hero in with Spider-Man, and they would team up to fight some nefarious villain. Marvel Team Up, you know?
Yeah.
And they always had to come up with these crazy ways to get the heroes together, you know?
Yep. And then it feels like half the time they would spend fighting each other rather than the villain.
Which is what we usually see in the Marvel movies. You know, whenever the heroes come together, they always have to fight each other first. And then, oh, wait, we're on the same team. And then they do that thing. So this is Annual 4. And the reason I picked this, because when you go to Wikipedia, they'll show you all the list of the heroes in the book and the villain.
Oh, yeah. And that name must have left out
to the end. And I saw Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. I said, all right, we're doing this one. That's right, he's a villain. Yeah. But the main villain in this book, however, is Purple Man.
That's right.
And, of course...
Zebediah Killgrave.
Yeah, there you go, Zebediah Killgrave. And he became his most mainstream popularity when the Jessica Jones TV show came out.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Because that
kind of became her arch nemesis. Yeah.
For a good reason.
Yeah. Although they did do that a little different in the comics. In the comics, she never actually got raped by him. It was more like a mind thing.
Really?
Yeah, like basically like he kept her captive for months and made her, be in love with him, and she would like beg him every night to have sex with her, but he would never do it. And then he would just like bang other women in front of her and stuff like that. So it was more like he was just, screwing with her head.
So he wasn't raping her, he was raping other women in front of her.
Yeah, exactly. Making her watch all this.
But anyway, that's Purple. That's Purple Man's gimmick. He can control your mind. He can make you do whatever he wants. And they call him Purple Man because he's all purple.
That's right.
His first appearance was in Daredevil issue 4, 1964, created by Stan Lee and Joe Orlando. Now, do you know the background of Purple Man?
Strangely, not really.
Well, apparently, he was working as a spy for a Soviet bloc country.
Uh-oh.
What I read. And he was trying to break into some weapons depot, and he was stumbled upon by some security guards or something, and a stray bullet hit a canister of nerve gas.
Ooh.
And some experimental nerve gas, one of them deals,
Mm-hmm.
And he got doused in it. And I get maybe it was multiple chemicals, I don't know. But it turned his body purple.
Yeah, like Grimace.
Yeah. And that's how he got his powers, through that accidental chemical exposure. And like when he got arrested and they took him in, and he just talked his way out of it. And he says, holy shit, I can do whatever. So he realized he can control people's minds. And I guess it's based on the pheromones or something. They see through his skin.
Yeah.
And then the way he talks, his voice manipulates your mind, and you do whatever he tells you to do. And like the effects wear off, like if he walks away from you, you know. So he had to be always around Jessica Jones for a long time then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he pretty much kept her trapped there for a long time, but yeah, I think they may have expanded that as he went along and he got more powerful, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because recently there was a whole thing where, I mean, this seemed stupid to me at the time, but the Kingpin basically like captured Purple Man and like cut off his thumb and put the thumb in his cane, like in the diamond of his cane, and suddenly he was able to use Purple Man's powers. It was like, well, that's weird.
Put his thumb in the cane.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it.
Well, I guess in theory, getting out of the diamond.
Yeah, I guess in theory, if it's like just the chemicals, but you think they would wear out, you know?
Yeah,
just his thumb without the other metabolism producing these pheromones. But yeah, well, that is something there. Also, the Kingpin is in this issue as well.
That he is. Yeah, I guess this is the first time he met the Purple Man. So
yeah,
for that.
Anything else we need to know about Purple Man?
He's got a lot of kids, as you would expect for a guy. Pretty much just goes around demanding women to have sex with him. Yeah.
Purple. Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of them was a good guy who was on Alpha Flight for a while. He had a daughter who was on Alpha Flight. And then recently there's been a lot of like younger kids, and they were actually the ones who kind of put Daredevil's secret back in the bottle after he had kind of come out as Daredevil and moved to San Francisco. He saved the purple children, and then they like in to help him out, basically decided, hey, the world shouldn't know your secret anymore. We're going to command the entire world to forget. And
what?
Yeah, they did. Yep.
That's just dumb.
Yeah. I think in
world.
Devil's Reign recently, I think a lot of them either died or just got taken away or whatever. And but one of them was left behind, and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are now raising that kid along with their own daughter. So that's weird.
I just want to grab comic book writers and shake them. Just shake them.
Yeah.
It's terrible. All right. Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp is he's basically the Elektra or the bullseye for Kingpin. He's the Kingpin's assassin in this book.
Yeah. Finally, he got somebody competent.
So yeah, we went from Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp, Elektra, Bullseye, Typhoid Mary. That's the evolution of Kingpin's assassins. So now
he started at the top. It only went down from there.
Would you like to describe Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp for everybody?
He kind of looks like a thin Santa Claus or like a Kenny Rogers type.
That's a very good description. Yes.
Yeah, he's like an old man with white hair, a white beard, some snazzy sunglasses. He wears like an orange suit with a green shirt and an orange tie. Very good look.
He's very well dressed.
Yeah, carries like a fancy looking gun. I don't know that he ever actually fires, but he's got it.
It looks like a fancy laser gun or something.
Yeah.
Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. All right. So those are the villains. I guess we forgot to mention the heroes in this book. Of course, Spiderman. Then we have Daredevil, Moon Knight, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. We also get brief appearances by Misty Knight and Colleen Wing.
Yep. They get told to stay home.
Yeah, that's a lot of heroes. Basically, some of my favorite
heroes. Level heroes there, yeah.
Yeah, I like the street level guys. So yeah, a lot of my favorites are right there.
Yeah.
And then the villain.
In the Ultimate Universe, during the Ultimate Spider-Man run, there was a time where I think a lot of these same heroes kind of got together and they were going to finally, topple the Kingpin. But I think it went south when Moon Knight, who much like in our reality is a multiple personality wacko, like they were like, hey, let's have this guy who's mentally unstable pretend to be an agent for the Kingpin and go in undercover. But turns out, of course, he just started to believe that and turned against them. So
that seems really poor planning on the hero's part.
Yeah, you probably don't
Again,
send a crazy person to do things.
you just want to grab these writers and shake them. Just shake them. So those are the heroes. Those are the villains. Now, the creators for this book. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. This is from 1981. All right.
Yeah.
This book, 1981. Now,
Year before I was born.
oh, wow. How about that? The writer here is Frank Miller. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Frank Miller. Yeah.
I think I may have once or twice.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, the weird thing about this. All right, he'd actually written an earlier Marvel team up. He co-wrote it with Chris Claremont. And then he also did the art for Marvel Team Up issue 100 in 1980. And that was the first appearance of Karma of the New Mutants.
Oh, okay.
So
I forgot about that.
He did that. So now this book came out, I think around June of 81, somewhere around there. The interesting thing to me is that he took over writing Daredevil in, I believe, October of 1980, and with issue 168, and that was Elektra's first appearance, one of the most iconic Daredevil issues ever. And the way Daredevil was written in this book is very much like Stan Lee, Wally Wood era Daredevil, like the early 60s. It has no resemblance to Frank Miller Daredevil at all.
Yeah, that is weird that he's writing the same guy differently at the same time.
Because when I read this,
you got to meet the mandate of what's Marvel Team Up's all about.
When I read this, I assumed that this was written before he took over Daredevil. I know this was actually written. Now it was released 6 or 7 months after, but maybe he they had this in the can, for a while. Because the annual books are, separate and they kind of just do a thing. And so maybe this was on a shelf somewhere and someone grabbed it.
Could have been, maybe this was supposed to be the annual the year before or the year before. Who knows?
Because it's not exactly, you could put it wherever. It's not timely or anything. So, I don't know. That's my only explanation. Because otherwise, what are we doing? And I also find it hard to believe he would have time to do this while he's writing and drawing Daredevil.
Yeah, writing and drawing is quite the commitment.
Yeah, because it was only a few issues before he had to have Klaus Janson basically, like he was just doing loose pencil breakdowns, and then Klaus Janson was really finishing up things. So, but I don't know. We'll see. That's my theory.
Yeah, I would buy that.
And he also did the cover for this. He drew the cover, but the artist for this issue is Herb Trimpe. Rhymes with Shrimpy. That's how Mike L. taught me how to say his name. Because I always thought it was Herb Trimp. And he says, no.
Me too.
It's Herb Trimpe. All right. And he drew Marvel Team Ups issue 106 to 118, and he also did annuals 3 and 4. And that was from 1981 to 82. We've talked about Herb Trimpe on the show many times. I know the G.I. Joe issue, I believe, that we did. You can go learn more about Herb Trimpe. So, there you go.
Yeah. He's never, been one to light my fire or anything like that.
No. Not so much.
Yeah, I'd say most of this was serviceable, except for some questionable stuff, but not the best.
The best you could say, I would describe Herb Trimpe's art as always bland and boring.
That's fair.
But,
Yeah, I mean, it got the point across better than that Shadow issue last week.
Yeah. I mean, it'll get the job done, but there's nothing exciting or anything like, oh, wow, look at this panel here. Holy hell, look what he's doing here. Nothing like that.
No, you're not buying any like Herb Trimpe pinups or something to put on your wall.
There is a big splash page of Luke Cage in this, where he's punching through a wall. Yeah, but even then, not very dynamic. But all right, so let's look at this cover here, Jank. Why don't you describe the cover for the kids?
I guess this is somewhat of a famous cover because I have this a version of this in a Jessica Jones comic from a couple years ago where they were doing all these lenticular covers that would if you look at it one way, it's the old cover, and then if you look at it the other way, it's this new cover that looks a lot like that cover that's, with current character costumes and stuff like that. So I've seen this before in some iteration. But it's a white cover. We got the Marvel Team Up Annual, Spider-Man real big, and then, smaller billing we get, and Moon Knight, Iron Fist, Power Man, Daredevil. But we get all 5 of them in the corner box there. And then we just get like a big Purple Man head, who looks a little bit more like a Blue Man here, but whatever. But he's just kind of looking all sinister and cackling. We got his giant ass hands, kind of floating in the background there. And we got Spider-Man off to the side, kind of jumping. He's like caught up in one of his hands. Power Man's like punching his giant head. Daredevil's kind of swinging out. He's stuck in the other hand. I think Iron Fist is also stuck. This guy's got giant hands, even though that's not his powers at all. He's getting ready to use the Iron Fist on him, and Moon Knight's just kind of jumping around like a little monkey.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's a great cover, but
yeah.
Do you think they added like look at the fingers of Purple Man? He's supposed to be holding Daredevil's leg between his fingers, but obviously Daredevil's leg would have to be flat to do that, So
yeah,
and like Luke Cage's leg would have to be flat. So it's almost like Miller drew it one way, and then they said, you know what, let's do it this way. And they cut out, and they said, let's just make it look like he's holding them. And then let's cut it. And because the hands.
Spider-Man, because he's kind of got the hand and the thumb, you can see him kind of holding it between there. That one I buy, but the rest of them, it'd have to be pretty flat limbs.
But if you don't look at it too closely, it's a great cover.
Yeah.
I
good.
I like Spider-Man's arm placement and everything. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, from just the format, I like this. It looks really good, the way it's set up.
How do you feel about the billing there? Spider-Man, and then they go Moon Knight, Iron Fist, Power Man, Daredevil. So it's not alphabetical order. And they put Iron Fist ahead of Power Man. Usually it's Power Man and Iron Fist.
I'd put Daredevil first after Spider-Man.
Yeah, it should be Daredevil, Moon Knight, Power Man, Iron Fist, right?
Yeah, I feel like Moon Knight should always go last. Moon Knight, even back then.
I think maybe they were trying to push Moon Knight a bit, Maybe.
Give him a bump. Yeah.
Although, keep in mind, until Miller took over Daredevil was on the verge of cancellation.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he became like the most popular. He was the top-selling book for Marvel once Frank Miller took over. Like eventually.
That's right. Yep.
So I guess that could explain Daredevil's poor billing. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think by now he would have started to catch on. Frank Miller's been writing it for about a year. But again, maybe this was old and they couldn't redo the cover.
All right. So we open it up and this book is called Power Play. Power Play.
Should have been called The Gloriousness of Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
I need to hear Frank Miller explain himself with Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. What was he doing?
I love it. He's getting out whatever he can't do in normal Daredevil, I guess. Just getting weird with it.
We also learn in this book that Peter Parker is a big fan of Elvis Costello.
Yeah, that's right.
Seems odd.
I mean, I can see it. He was a college kid in early 80s. That would be right up his alley.
I suppose. All right, so we got a big splash page here of Spider-Man. He's hanging upside down from a building, and he's taking pictures of a fender bender.
Yeah.
Down on the
Slow
street.
News Day.
Yeah. And one of the cars is purple.
Yeah, it's a purple Rolls Royce.
Now, how do you think this accident happened? Because if you look at the position of the cars, what the fuck was going on there?
Well, I guess it makes sense. I assume, the Purple Man was just going across the intersection like normal, but then that green car just decided to take a right turn and right into his car.
All right, I suppose.
I don't know why he did that, but, and then it, clearly knocked the Purple Man off course where he's now pointing up on the sidewalk.
Yeah, all right, I suppose. It seems questionable, but all right.
Yeah.
So when Spider-Man, he's taking these pictures because, he needs to sell his little photos there to J. Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle. Oh, J. Jonah Jameson also makes an appearance in this book.
Yeah, he does. Oh, he was great in this book. good Jonah Jameson.
So the two guys in the green car are upset with the driver of the purple car.
Mm-hmm.
And they look like some thugs, some gangsters kind of guys, Yeah. And the one looks right out of Guys and Dolls. And then the other one looks like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that does.
So they start to try and rough up the driver of the purple car. But Jank, who's that driver?
Oh, it's the purple man, of course, driving that purple Rolls Royce. So he says, I'll do nothing of the sort. Unhand me. That's better. Now you've both been very, very bad. You've ruined my Rolls Royce, my exquisite car. And frankly, you've upset me. Simply cannot let that go unpunished. And so basically then he's like, good for your punishment. You must punch each other into unconsciousness.
Yeah. So they start fighting. How about this purple man though? You know, his skin goes purple, and he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lean into this.
Yeah.
This is going to be my gimmick. I will call myself the Purple Man. I will drive a purple Rolls Royce, and I will wear nothing but purple clothing.
Yep. Even a purple hat.
Well, I guess he does have a white shirt on. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
The one splash color. And like a blue cover bund.
Yeah. How about that? All right. So then Spider-Man jumps down. He says, hey, buddy, I don't know what you did to those guys there, but you and me are going to tangle. And then, but Purple Man says, not so fast there, Web Slinger. I want you to just go hang up from that lamppost there and sing a song for me or something, right?
Yeah, recite some Shakespeare or some Shakespeare.
And he says, I don't really know any Shakespeare. So he says, well, why don't you sing a song? Or he says, well, what do you know? And he says, how about Elvis Costello? And then Purple Man says, Elvis Costello it is. So what this tells me is Frank Miller really liked Elvis Costello.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought so, but apparently, I guess he did. Or it was just one of those things that he kept hearing on the radio and it drove him angry. And he was just like, what's the most annoying but here?
I don't think you'd want to make that Spider-Man then, like he likes it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm thinking, he likes Elvis Costello. But Jank, this car crash here, Purple Man notices there's some stuff spread out over the ground, and he picks it up, and what is it?
Bunch of heroin.
Yeah, a big block of heroin.
Looks like a big block of cheese, but nope, it's heroin.
Yeah. I don't know. It's heroin. How about that 1981 Marvel team-up talking about heroin?
That's what you pay Frank Miller for.
Yeah.
He'll get heroin into any story.
So it turns out that these guys are working for the Kingpin.
Yeah.
And they were making his deliveries of heroin. So now we cut to the Kingpin.
Purple Man, though, he doesn't even care. He's like, I could take this heroin and sell it, but I don't even need to. I'm the Purple Man.
Yeah.
I can just get whatever I want.
So he tells everybody to forget that he was ever there. And then we cut to Fisk Tower. And how do you feel about how Herb Trimpe draws Kingpin?
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's definitely not that Kingpin that's made of muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle. He's just kind of a roly-poly fat guy.
With itty-bitty legs.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way that does not look structurally sound at all.
No.
Yeah, like got little pig hooves.
Like his legs are 1/3 of his body, and then his belly's 1/3, and then his head's So it's a little weird. All right, then the Kingpin's got a secretary, and she comes in and says, "Hey, Kingpin, things aren't going so well. Our heroin shipment there, we had some troubles, Oh, I guess the heroin was earmarked for Detroit."
Yeah, he's like, Detroit's gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Like, what do you care? You're the Kingpin. What do you care about Detroit?
Yeah, his secretary, man. He's not scared.
Yeah.
So he says, we have to investigate this. I need to find out what happened to my heroin. Send me my best man.
Yeah. Here he comes.
Yeah, he just says shortly, find the owner of that purple Rolls Royce, Heinrich. Find him and bring him to me. It will be as you wish, Kingpin. When do we find out his name is Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp?
It's not for a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll find it.
All right, so now the scene cuts. So now we have Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp going to investigate the heroin problem.
On the case.
We cut to the police station, and one of the lieutenants there, he's talking up those tough guys who were in the fight, the Purple Man-made fight, and they don't know what happened. They have no recollection of anything. And he's like, oh, sure, you don't remember anything. But then Daredevil comes in through the window. And he's like, hey, Lieutenant there, I think those men are telling the truth.
Yeah. This sounds like the Purple Man.
Yeah, he's fought the Purple Man before. And then the lieutenant's like, I don't know about you, Hornhead. But then Daredevil disappears. He just leaves out the window again. And blast him, he always does that to me. I don't remember this guy. Do you remember this lieutenant guy in early Daredevils? I don't remember him. But...
No, I was wondering if this was a recurring guy, but I don't really remember this guy at all.
Yeah. So then we see Daredevil, and every time the new hero shows up, they give you a little yellow narration block of like background, and then they give you like his name in the title font of his own book, So that's pretty cool. So we see
just a little tiny bit of information about him, just enough to whet your appetite.
And all right, Jake, explain this next scene to
us. So Daredevil is out swinging around. He sees some guy getting mugged. Daredevil jumps in and knocks down the criminal, kicks him, and he asks the guy.
Two criminals.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, this other guy is the guy.
Yeah, at one point I thought they screwed up the coloring, but I'm like, no, they are just two. Yeah, there are two criminals and one guy getting mugged, But,
Yeah. So he asked the guy, "Are you all right, sir?" And the guy says, "Yes, I think so." Daredevil, how can I ever repay you? Just do your duty, friend. Call the police and report the incident. I will.
Like, what the fuck? Frank Miller wrote that.
Yeah.
Like, that is not Frank Miller Daredevil. I say, yeah, it's crazy. This had to be written in 1967. It's very old.
Yeah, this is a Stan Lee story. They just put Frank Miller's
name
up.
Because then Daredevil, after he says that, Daredevil, we see him swinging away. And he says, a common everyday mugging, but no crime is too small if there's a victim. I couldn't ignore it. Still, it cost me precious time.
Yeah.
What was the point of any of that? Like, I thought that guy who was getting mugged would somehow come back into play at some point. No.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Nope.
No, I guess they had to fill an extra page. Got to get to 30 pages.
That's all it was. Just filler. Filler. So now we cut back to Peter Parker's house, and he and Aunt May are sitting down enjoying some TV together. They're watching the TVs, and a news report comes on talking about the Fifth Avenue shoppers witnessed a very strange occurrence tonight. A purple Rolls Royce collided with another car, and Peter Parker thinks purple Rolls Royce. That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
his spider sense is tingling. It's tingling. Now, I guess this is how they always did it, right? With the spider sense, because Herb Trimpe drew him like half the spider face and then half Peter Parker's face. But like Peter Parker's nose is like
it's like smushed, like he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, like there's no depth on the other side whatsoever. And nose, so it's a little jarring. But
sure is, yeah.
All right, so then Aunt May says, "Hey, let's turn off this news. You're getting a little too worked up watching this news there, Peter. Why don't I put on some of your favorites?"
Soft, kid. You can't even watch the news without getting the vapors.
I'll put on some of your favorite Elvis Costello. So she puts on the Elvis Costello, and the song is the same one he was singing when he was hanging from the lamppost. So that, sparks his memory. And he's like, oh, man, maybe I have some pictures of what happened. So he goes and he develops the photos, and sure enough, there's a picture of a purple guy. Now, he's never fought the Purple Man yet, right?
Well, just earlier, but he forgot about that. So I guess.
Like in the history of the Spider-Man, like he doesn't recognize him. He just knows the purple Rolls Royce and the Purple Man. But he's saying the Purple Man just as there's a man and he's purple, not the Purple Man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like he's just,
that's right. Not trademarked Purple Man, just a Purple Man.
So then Spider-Man goes swinging through the city, but then we cut to the Plaza Hotel. All right, Jack, here's your boy.
Oh, here we go.
He's doing work. Why don't you describe what happens here?
This is where we find out the truth. Plaza Hotel. Verdammt snobs won't let me in. Not dressed well enough, they say. But Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp will not be thwarted.
Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
So he gets out some suction cups and decides to scale the wall like Spider-Man, but just suction cups.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. This guy's resourceful.
Yeah.
He's a very capable, 68-year-old man.
Maybe he's just prematurely gray, or white,
maybe.
I guess.
He's probably younger than.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely older than Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. Don't worry about that. So, but he counts up the levels there, the floors, and he gets to where he's going because he found out that the Rolls Royce was registered to a Zebediah Kilgrave, and then he found out that Zebediah Kilgrave had a room at this hotel. So he counted the floor. He gets to the floor, and here he looks in the window and he sees two cops standing on their heads.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on here? But then he sees old Purple Man leaving, so he trails Purple Man. And now this was a little disturbing because Purple Man, he's in the park, and Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp is following him, But Purple Man's in the park, and he sees a couple of lovers, walking down the street there, a man and a lady. And he just tells the fella to go jump in a river. He's like, you go for a run there. Get the hell out of here.
So go jump in a lake, and the guy's like, there are no lakes here. How about the Hudson River? And he's like, yeah, do that.
Yeah. So he's going to go swim in the river. And then Purple Man just takes his lady. And he takes her in a horse
carriage ride together.
Yeah, horse-drawn carriage. And and he just starts smooching her in the back, sexually assaulting this poor woman.
Because apparently it's not even a good enough sexual assault because he's like, that kiss sucked, get out.
Yeah.
Gives her the boot.
I guess he's bored because it's too easy. So he kicks her out, and he looks all sad and frustrated, like, man, it's simply no fun anymore, these raping these ladies. And they just let me do it. So total power over all who live is a beastly bore. But then, Jank, Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp drops out of a tree. Right into the horse-drawn carriage. And we know he fell out of a tree because we see some leaves falling down.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls out his laser gun on Kilgrave. Do not move. Stay precisely where you are, or I will make you dead. You will not. Make yourself dead, rodent. As you instruct. And Heinrich puts the gun to his head. But in the foreground, we have Purple Man, and he's blowing on his fingernails to show how bored he is. But his hand's right in Heinrich's face, blocking Heinrich's face. Come on, Herb Trimpe. We want to see Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. Can't cover up his face like that.
Yeah, that's the moneymaker right there.
It's terrible. Terrible composition there.
Yeah, not great.
Tilt his hand a little to the left there. That's all you need to do. All right, so Purple Man says, hey, you know what? This might be interesting, though. I want to know who hired you to kill me.
So, I want to know all about Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. So you're going to tell me your whole life story.
Now, Spider-Man also tracks down Zebediah Kilgrave the same way, right? Something.
Yeah. Yep.
And he breaks in and he sees the cops stand on their heads, but Daredevil's also there. And Daredevil, though, has an idea how to wake up the cops. What does he do, Johnny?
He gets a bucket. I'm assuming that's an ice bucket, but it doesn't look like an ice bucket. It looks like an actual bucket from a well.
Yeah, it's made out of wood.
Yeah.
All your finer hotels have wooden buckets.
So he fills it up with cold water and douses the cops in it. Dumps it on them.
Yeah.
And it seems to work. Cops come out of it.
Now, make a note of this, because this comes in handy later.
Yep. Right? Unlike that last scene with the mugging, this actually does pay off.
Yes, it does. And Spider-Man's like, what'd you do that for? You got no respect for the law? And Daredevil, just an experiment, friend. I thought a sudden physical shock might jar them from Kilgrave's control. Guess it worked.
Yeah.
With that, friend. So they go chasing Kilgrave through the city. Spider-Man's swinging, on his webs. and Daredevil's trying to keep up with his Billy Club and cord there. And Spider-Man says, "Hey, what does he call him here? Old man." He calls him old man.
You don't talk to Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
No. He's telling Daredevil old man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
he's like
older than Spider-Man, I guess.
I know, but how old is Daredevil? Like 30? Pops? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he had to go to law school. It's got to take a couple of years.
Yeah. That's Peter Parker, man. What a creep. Yeah. Calling Daredevil an old man. And Daredevil says, "I'm managing, youngster, managing." So they track down Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp, and Daredevil tries to warn him. He says, hey, hold up, Spider-Man. Don't go in there so quick. But Spider-Man just jumps right in there, takes the gun from Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp, but then he falls prey to Purple Man, you know?
Yep. Tells him to take a flying leap.
Yeah. So what happens?
So Spider-Man runs up a building. He's like, "You're the boss." And he runs up to the top of this skyscraper, and he's like, "Well, here I go." And he jumps off, just prepared to hit the ground. But luckily, that old man Daredevil swings on by and catches him.
Yeah, we were like 3 seconds away from Spider-Man being dead.
Yeah. Good thing Daredevil was still helping him out.
Yeah. And Daredevil's trying to talk him out of it, you know? And Spider-Man's like,
for some reason, I guess the reason Daredevil usually fights Purple Man is he's somehow immune or semi-immune to the Purple Man's powers.
He has an indomitable will. Some people can. Hey, we encountered that before. The Red Wolf, remember? Red Wolf said he had his own. But there are certain individuals who their will is so strong they can withstand Purple Man's influence. Daredevil's one. We learn of another one in this issue coming up, and I believe Dr. Doom is also immune to Purple Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like was he always immune to the Purple Man? Because that seems like something that Frank Miller himself would have created, like as part of his ninja training with Stick. Like he learned to have that indomitable will.
Well, he's not immune to the Purple Man in this issue.
No.
At the end, because Purple Man does a little trick there. We'll get into when we get there.
Using a microphone makes your pheromones stronger.
I guess, but it made his voice louder. And maybe Daredevil's keen sense of hearing, maybe it amplified it even more, so I don't know.
Yeah. But I think he'd be extra, susceptible to it normally because he's already got super hearing. He's already hearing it super loud.
So Daredevil tries to talk Spider-Man, out of Purple Man's control. Now we cut back to Fisk Tower, and Purple Man and Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp show up together,
Yep.
And Purple Man, he says, "Hey, you're that Kingpin fella." And Kingpin says, "I was told that you had died while escaping from Rikers Island prison. You had drowned. That's what I wanted everyone to think, but it would take more than a mere fall into the ocean to damage my chemically mutated body. Yet that incident was not without its significance, for as I sank deep into the brine, a single staggering thought filled my mind." And what does the Kingpin say, Jack?
Oh, he's like, "Oh, you thought I will have revenge."
And Purple Man's like, no. I thought, who needs the grief? Which is what I think every day.
Yep. That's why you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, Purple Man says, why let myself in for some pitched battle one after another? I bruise quite easily. I've said that line many times in my life. And he says, when I can have anything I want just by asking for it. Yeah, so this Purple Man, he's trying to work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
Just I'm not going to fight superheroes. Just go around and do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah, I don't even need to steal things. I can just go to the store and tell them to give it to me, and they'll do it. What am I doing all this shit for?
But Kingpin's not too happy about this. So
he's like, "You're wasted. You got all this power, but it's going unused. Like you're blowing it."
Yeah. So he takes out his is that his walking stick, but it doesn't have a severed thumb in it.
His obliterator cane.
It's obliterator cane. And so like it's like a shotgun, and Purple Man's all pissed. He says, "Hey, what are you doing? You dare threaten me? Listen to me, you overwhelming obesity. I want you to take that cane, point it at your own head, and blow your brains out." So Kingpin slowly turns the cane to his head, but then he just smiles and he says, "No, I give the orders here. Not you there, buddy. I'm the Kingpin of crime." And
Dominable will.
Yeah. So Kilgrave's like, what the hell? You're resisting me? And he says, yep. So they form a partnership. You know? So
That's how all good partnerships start.
Kingpin's got a big idea, though, you know? He's got a big idea that he wants to do. So now, Jank, we cut to Power Man and Iron Fist. And,
about halfway through, we're finally getting to the rest of these heroes.
And what I like about Power Man and Iron Fist is they're just coming out of a movie. And you're Mr. Movie. You always like to go to the movies. Now, I don't know if they had a chicken quesadilla, but they went to go see a movie called Image of El Jefe.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, not so much. But what I really like is they go to the movies on a normal afternoon dressed in their superhero outfits.
You never know where someone might need a hero for hire, I guess.
Because what could be more uncomfortable than a movie theater seat? Sitting in one with a chain belt, a heavy chain belt around your waist. That would make it very comfortable.
Every time he shifts or if he has to get up to go to the bathroom, he's just jangling chains the whole time. They're like, fucking Luke Cage, get out of here.
And if you're stuck sitting behind Iron Fist there, he's got that wacky collar that sticks up real high. You know, It's like, oh, man. Iron Fist.
These guys better be in the back.
But they're arguing about the movie. Luke Cage, he did not like it, right? And El Jefe.
He does like it.
Yeah, Iron Fist
like
did not
the part
like
where El Jefe punched the guy through the engine block.
But Iron Fist does not like it because it kind of like doesn't give a true picture of martial arts, right? He was like, it doesn't, He's
a purist.
Yeah. But Jank, as they're walking out of the movie theater, what happens?
Somebody starts shooting. There's like a drive-by going on, and they shoot Luke Cage right in the chest as he tries to protect the lady, like he jumps in front of her. And they ruin his shirt, which is a recurring theme in this thing. He does not like people fucking with his shirt. And meanwhile, Iron Fist jumps into action and he kicks through the window of the car and kicks the driver, knocking the entire car over.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, he didn't even use his Iron Fist. He just used his foot.
He kicked over a speeding vehicle. But whatever. Maybe can he chi things into his foot as well?
Yes, I don't know why he couldn't. I guess. But where else can you channel that chi to?
Yeah, so he took out the crook there, the criminal, and they rescue this lady, and this lady, they take her back to their offices, or to Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. And she says that she heard people planning an assassination or something, right?
Yeah, that's why those guys were chasing her, because she overheard them talking about this big crime going on at the charity show that night.
Okay, yeah. And when they get to the office, Luke Cage calls her honey. So Colleen's like kind of mocking that. We're all ears, honey. And because she's a foxy blonde, this lady.
Yeah.
And so they decide, all right, well, we're going to go. But Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, they're like, hey, this smells like a setup, And Luke Cage says, so what if it is? We're tough, Misty. Colleen, we'll leave the chickie with you. An ex-cop and a samurai can protect her well enough. Chickie. We'll leave the chickie here with you. All right, so Luke Cage and Iron Fist are going to go see. Where's this happening? At some charity event, right? You said.
Yeah, the big charity event that they've been talking about, like on the news earlier when Peter Parker was watching it and stuff like that.
All right, Jank. So now walk us through this Moon Knight scenario, because now we meet Moon Knight.
Yeah, there's a guy, like the white version of Mike Tyson, feeding his pigeons up on the top of the roof.
Well, I guess his name is literally Pigeon.
Yeah, he's like a stool pigeon. And he takes that one step further and actually raises pigeons. And Moon Knight kind of comes dropping down in the shadows. And we get a little thing about Moon Knight here with his crazy backstory. Where it says, he is Jake Lockley, cab driver, Stephen Grant, millionaire, playboy, and Mark Spector, soldier of fortune. He is a one-man organization dedicated to pulling the weed of crime out by its roots.
Hey,
just ripping off the shadow there.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, Pigeon, I hear you got information for me. And some guy's trying to take out Pigeon before he can talk, apparently. He's going to shoot him. But Moon Knight throws one of his little, crescent blades over at the gun, plugs it up, and then jumps over there and punches the guy right in the face. And the stool pigeon guy, he's like, yeah, there's a big, some kind of big thing going on at that charity thing tonight, so you should probably go there. That's all I know. And he's like, I wouldn't lie to you. And so Moon Knight's like, all right, I'm going to get out of here. You turn this sniper over to the authorities, Pigeon, kind of like Daredevil was doing earlier, I guess. Like, make sure you call 911 about this. And then as soon as Moon Knight jumps away, the two guys, the assailant and Pigeon, they're like, all right, he's gone. But like, we suckered him good, just like the Kingpin told us to. So they were working him the whole time.
Yeah, that makes me think like the Daredevil mugging thing. They weren't working Daredevil, right? Like the guy didn't say anything about a charity event, right?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't have anything to do with that. It was just a rando.
Yeah, I went back to check. Yeah, he did not.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, that would make sense then if he did, because then we're seeing him do it to everybody. But yeah, I think they fucked up, right?
Yeah, I mean, Daredevil knew about it because he was with Spider-Man. Yeah, that's why they know.
All right, so now we cut to the Daily Bugle, I believe, right? And we see J. Jonah Jameson getting ready for his awards banquet.
Yeah,
and
he's having a good old time talking about how great he looks, and Glory's like, "Oh, good luck tonight, Mr. Jameson. Sorry I can't be there." And he's like, "And well, you should be, Glory." And then he's like, "Oh, that poor dear. I know she really wants to see how awesome I am at this thing, but too bad she has to work." Like, I love Jameson. He's so good.
But Jameson's walking down the hall, though, and he walks in front of Robbie Robertson's office. And when you know, it's Spiderman and Daredevil are in there. You know?
Yeah. He ain't having that, not in his paper.
He says, "Get out! Out, out, out!" And he's screaming so loud the cigar's just floating in the air, you know? And I love that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a good touch.
So now we come back to Kingpin, and he's talking to his buddy Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
Such a weird stance for the Kingpin, like, so wide between the two legs, like, what's going on there?
So what does he tell Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp? He has a new mission. What's his job now?
Let's see. Out of every defeat, I have risen stronger, more determined. Out of every clash with the costume clowns, I have gleaned information which shall enable me to destroy them. And now fate has delivered to me the instrument of my revenge on Daredevil, Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Power Man, and Iron Fist. So basically, yeah, he's lured all of them to this charity event, and Purple Man's going to help him kill them, and then as soon as all that's over, like once Kilgrave has served his purpose, like I want you, Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp, to take him out.
Yeah, because he's worried if he can't let Kilgrave, he might be too powerful for the Kingpin to control eventually. So he's like, all right, once he does his job, you kill him. Right?
So I'm going to give you these special earplugs that will, block Purple Man's voice so you won't hear it and he can't affect you.
Yeah, see, back here, I wonder if it was all his voice that did the controlling, and then over the years it evolved to pheromones and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because, well, we'll get there. Well, maybe I'll just save it, I guess, until we get there. But there's another aspect of it that is not consistent with the current Purple Man background.
Sure.
All right, so we cut to the charity event. J. Jonah Jameson is giving a speech there, and he's smoking a cigar while he's giving a speech. That's such a badass he is. He doesn't even care. And there's other people just smoking in this theater too, man.
Yeah. Not good if you're Daredevil.
Yeah, he's sitting right next to this another guy that looks like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And, he's smoking a cigar. Yeah, so all the heroes are in the crowd.
Real good in this crowd.
So all the heroes are in the crowd. We got Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and they're in suits, you know. They're not in their costumes. We got Peter Parker, and he's there. He's on a date with a lady. Yeah.
They brought Deb Whitman.
Oh, do you know that? Like, is that somebody you know? I don't know Deb Whitman.
Yeah, she was like a short-term girlfriend, but they brought her into the animated series for a while, actually, which is where I first heard of her. But yeah, she kind of like, I don't know, she had like some kind of mental problems, and she kind of went a little bit nuts.
Oh.
And yeah,
You know.
Like she kind of thought like, oh, Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and then he like, proved he wasn't, but he really was.
Oh, so he's just
So,
gaslighting her to make her think that she's
yeah, pretty
crazy?
much. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice of Peter Parker to do. So Jonah's giving a speech, and then he introduces Kilgrave, the Purple Man. And basically, Jonah was just saying how the Daily Bugle's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's
like,
so good.
It's like the best.
It's like, this reminds me of something I just wrote in a editorial the other day about how charitable things are the best things you could do. Even if, sure, it is a tax write-off for me, but I'm still pretty great for doing it.
Yeah, and he says, hey, our Sunday edition now features a special pull-out section at the very latest in home decorating. Thanks, Jameson. Appreciate that. So he introduces Kilgrave, the Purple Man. And out comes Purple Man. But the crowd's like, who? Come on, we were expecting Steve Martin. Boo! And they're all booing Purple Man. And
Larry would not be in attendance at this show.
Yeah, Larry hates Steve Martin. So Purple Man's up there, and he says, quiet. That's better. Now, before I begin my act, I'd like to point out a celebrity in the audience. There he is in the third row, Matt Murdock. You may know him as a famous lawyer, but that's only half the story, isn't it, Matt? Because Purple Man apparently knows he's Daredevil.
Yeah.
So how does Matt Murdock get out of this sticky situation, Jank?
Why, the way everyone would. He takes the cigar from the Lex Luthor guy next to him, and he can tell from his radar sense that the seat in front of him is empty. So he's like, I'm going to throw this cigar on that empty seat and start a fire in a crowded theater.
It's so stupid.
I mean, by the time this fire started, the Purple Man would have already...
I know. It's like so ridiculous.
And
there's a shot of him peeking over the chair, like watching it burn. And he's like, fire! So everybody starts stampeding out of the theater. And, cause they go, I can see the smoke. There really is a fire. And, you think the people all around Matt Murdock would be like, hey, dickhead, why are you putting a cigar on the chair there? Or like the guy would just reach over and pick up a cigar, like, hey, give me that back. One of them deals. But no, they just all panic.
Yep.
And, Peter Parker, so Matt Murdock, he ducks around the corner. He's going to change into Daredevil. And then, Deb Whitman, she's terrified. She's running away.
He just runs away, and Peter Parker's like, oh, screw it, I'm going the other way.
Yeah, the great boyfriend that he is isn't concerned about Deb Whitman at all. He's just, hey, I'm jumping up to the balcony there. He's changing to Spider-Man. And then Power Man and Iron Fist go change. And Moon Knight's going to go change.
They bothered, they should have just gone to this charitable event in their costumes like they do the movies.
Yeah. So Moon Knight sees Spider-Man. He's like, holy hell, Spider-Man. He's probably behind this. He's probably going to kill Jameson. Because
yeah, that seems likely.
Well, he's a victim of the propaganda,
Yeah.
The Daily Bugle is like the CNN Fox News of the day. They just feed bullshit to the masses, and Moon Knight ate it up. He's like, oh yeah, Spider-Man's evil. So he goes to fight the Spider-Man, but Daredevil intercepts him. He's like, Daredevil's like, hey, I got him there, Spider-Man. He's like, hey, thanks, everybody.
They both seem to like fall on their heads.
Yeah, that is like if that's a wrestling match, that's a bad bump right there. We're worried about his neck.
They both fell off the Hell in the Cell.
Medical personnel are coming to the ring right now to check on them both. Then we see Power Man and Iron Fist running in, and wow, that is a terrible picture of Power Man and Iron Fist. That's because they're about to fight Moon Knight, but then Spider-Man jumps down. He says, "Hey, cool, everybody. We're all on the same side here.
Mm-hmm.
We're all good guys." But meanwhile, there's Jonah screaming again. The cigar's still floating in midair. And
Spider-Man for trying to ruin his moment.
Now, again, the sequence of events here, like time has elapsed. Like a lot of time has elapsed from the moment Matt Murdock said fired. They all had to go change their costumes. They all had to come back. But now Purple Man says, everybody kill the heroes, kill the heroes. But didn't everybody already evacuate the auditorium when they thought there was a fire?
Yeah, who are these stragglers who are like, I'm going to brave it. I really want this dinner, so I'm just going to stick around through the fire.
I think it would have been better if you forgot all this stuff about him exposing Matt Murdock. Just have him come up on stage. Well, I guess he needed to get the heroes into their costumes, though. But he wouldn't know that, though. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't know that the hero is going to go change in their costumes. Like, because he didn't know Matt Murdock was going to start a fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he knew the plan was to get all the superheroes here, so he must have known the heroes were going to be there. So it would have made sense that way.
But he couldn't just tell people, like, hey, kill the heroes, because the people wouldn't know the heroes without their costumes.
Oh, true.
So I guess there had to be a way for them to get in their costumes, but he wouldn't know that, though. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't.
He could have just filibustered for a while, and then they probably would have gotten in their costumes, take him down. Like,
yeah, that would have been better, you know? But the whole thing about Matt Murdock, or like if he was up on stage and saying, if he's having people fight each other or do something like that.
Yeah, he makes changes and do something like, stick a cigar up your ass.
Or he's going to make someone kill themselves or something. So then the heroes have to jump into action. But, the way this is done, like, all these people would be out of the theater, so who's he commanding to kill? But anyway, all the people come back, and they start surrounding the heroes. And, the heroes don't want to beat up average people. So I go, no, we're stuck. But then Luke Cage just says, all right, I'm just going to punch a hole through this wall. Krakow, Skrakow. Punches a hole.
Skrakow, yeah.
And they just go outside. But the people outside are even like, kill them, kill the heroes, And Iron Fist says, that's right, they televised the show. Looks like it was a hit. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I think at this point in time, probably it was just Kilgrave's voice that controlled people. Yeah. Because obviously with pheromones, that would not work with TV,
Yep.
So the way they explain this on Marvel Fandom is they said that, Iron Man or Iron Fist, he just made a mistake. And that these people on the street were actually in the theater earlier.
Oh.
And these were people who were in the theater.
I mean, I guess that would make more sense because, like, who are these people who are watching it on TV and then somehow all got all the way over here in like 1 minute?
Well, could have lived next door. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a city, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know about how New York works, but I'm guessing there's people everywhere. But so this is just Iron Fist being a dummy. All right, don't buy it. So.
As he always is. Yeah. Let's be fair.
All right, so we cut back. Now we see Moon Knight and Daredevil, and they're watching the crowd run out. But then, Jank, we see your buddy, Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
Yeah, sadly, this is the end of his story here. He's like, you can come out now, Daredevil. I know you're here. You wouldn't have the sense to retreat. Your courage has always outstripped your intelligence. Cannot hear a sound with these earplugs in. But Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp is not a stupid man. It is obvious that my leader's plan has come to fruition. The time has come for the Purple Man to end. Do not move, my plum-colored prey. Then bam, just gets hit in the head with some nunchucks.
Yeah, Moon Knight cracked him in the back of the head. And he threw them. And so he took out SchnickleSchnapp. Dangerous as he is, the Purple Man must be brought to justice, not murdered. But how did this sniper resist Kilgrave's will? Daredevil said he was the only one who, So he checks SchnickleSchnapp's ears, and he sees some wacky earplugs. So that's what he knows. So now we see Purple Man.
A man of his age could have just been, hearing aids.
So Purple Man now is right on center stage again, and he puts calls for a spotlight on him, and the rest of the theater's in darkness. And Purple Man says, "You're so predictable, Daredevil." Like he's talking to Daredevil here. "I understand you terrorized the underworld with that little maneuver. Only I know its true purpose: to offer you a protective shroud of darkness, to make your enemies every bit as blind as you are. Come forth, Murdock."
Yeah, he knows.
And he tells Daredevil, "Drop your billy club." I control you now. Daredevil's like, you don't control me. He's like, holy shit, I think you control me. He starts sweating, and cause I guess, as we said, Purple Man's talking into some microphones. And it's amplifying his powers, apparently. So he tells Daredevil to just strangle himself.
And he does.
Yeah, he starts choking himself. But who comes to save the day, Jack?
Moon Knight, out of the shadows. He's now wearing the earplugs, so he's immune.
Yep.
And Purple Man's like, who dares? Another one? Look, I can't be bothered. Go eat your cape. He says, I said go eat your cape. What's wrong with you? I told you to. And Moon Knight just punches him right in the face.
knocks him out in one punch. How do you feel about Purple Man's haircut in this issue? It's kind of very Wolverine / Owl-esque.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna say the owl. It looks very much like the owl. Yeah.
Yeah, so Moon Knight knocks out Purple Man, and then he goes to check on Daredevil. Daredevil's like, "Oh, Moon Knight, you saved my life, but you must have heard him call me Murdoch, I guess. You must know who I am now. I only hope you'll respect my..." And then Moon Knight says, "Hey, save your breath there, Dee Dee. I can't hear it until I get these things out of my ears." So he takes the earplugs out, and Daredevil's like, "Oh, we'll dodge the bullet there." Now, Moon Knight,
I wasn't saying anything. Just thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks. That's what I was telling. Yeah.
I wasn't just confessing my whole backstory and origin to you. Don't worry about it. So they shake hands, and now they're buddies. And now we get possibly the worst panel I've ever seen. Oh my
God, this was atrocious.
Describe it for the kids, Jack.
Oh my God. Well, the problem with this is it's Spider-Man. We're kind of getting a view of Spider-Man looking back towards the camera, I guess, except for the fact that Spider-Man looks like he's a, Macy's Day float, balloon.
Yes.
It's just a large, super round head, shoulder, an arm that looks like it's coming out of nowhere, like it's coming from the other side, I guess. Like the shoulder, there's the one shoulder up front that we see, and then the other arm coming out from behind that arm. It's bizarre. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and it takes up what's 60% of the panel, just his face.
And this is a splash page, so it's like, why? Why would you want to highlight this? This is a terrible panel.
But yeah, Macy's Day balloon, like you see the old Thanksgiving Day parade of Spider-Man. That's what it looks like. And you'll be happy to know, Jank, that the YouTube videos of Flea Market Fantasy are back.
Yeah.
I put
I won't be able to see this, and it's all
This picture will be featured in the YouTube version of Flea Market Fantasy, so you can go over there and be one of the literally 10 people that watch those videos, and you can enjoy it as well. But yeah, so we get that close-up of Spider-Man, and Power Man and Iron Fist are running down the street because they're trying to get away from the people. And Spider-Man takes off. He just jumps up. He's climbing up the building. And look at Iron Fist. What is he doing? Swinging on poles? What the hell is Iron Fist doing?
All those pole dancing classes really pay off. They work his core.
But Luke Cage is like yelling at Spider-Man. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Just taking off? You're leaving us here?" And he's like, "Hey, I got to get some high ground here." So he climbs to the top of the building, and he just webs out a giant net.
Mm-hmm.
He exhausts his web fluid to put out a giant net to kind of catch all the people from the theater who are now hypnotized. And then he swings down, and he grabs Power Man and Iron Fist, and he swings them up to the top of the building because he has a plan how to wake them up, Jank.
Yeah, that's right. Help to, because of Daredevil's, earlier thing with the water, there's a water, reservoir up on top of one of these buildings, the apartment buildings or whatnot. And he's like, all right, we just got to splash all these people and then they'll be good again. So Power Man there lifts it off, the wood. It's held up by a bunch of wood. So he just lifts it up, pushes it over, and they get it to the edge of the building. And they're like, all right, now it's Iron Fist time to shine.
Yeah.
As if Power Man or Spider-Man couldn't do this. But
yeah,
they just wanted him to feel like he had something to do.
Yeah, they're both sitting there. Do you think you can break it? Come on, you're both way stronger than him.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And dig this shot of Iron Fist's arm too. What is happening?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There's no skinnier part as it gets towards his hand. It's just all the same thickness.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, he's looking for just the right weak point of the water tower there to hit it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to find the right weak point. Just punch the end of it. That's all you got to do.
Just the Iron Fist. That's what you're here for.
He's like he's Karnak of the Inhumans. Karnak. Yeah. He always can hit anything.
Yeah, looking for the flaw.
Yeah, just punch it there, buddy. So all the water spills off the building and it falls on the people under the web net there, and it wakes them all up. They all come to their senses. And
it's one of them. He gets all wet. He's not happy about it.
Yeah, he's big on alliteration, this Jameson. Earlier he was using it, and he uses it here too. Eupurient, profligate, polypus, prosimian. Prosimian is a type of monkey.
Yeah.
So I like that.
He won you over.
But Spider-Man's giving that right back to Jameson, and he's like, hey, look, Jameson, I just saved this town, and I'll go on saving it, and you'll go on filling your papers with lies about me, and every once in a while, I'll get the crazy urge to rip your arms off, but then I'll just think back on how you look right now, all soaking wet and miserable, and I'll know it's all worthwhile. See you in the funny papers, Jonah. And then he walks off.
Yeah.
He learned him,
Yep.
The cops are rounding up Purple Man, and they gagged him so he can't talk. So Daredevil's very happy about that because he's like, he won't reveal my secrets if he can't talk.
Yeah, we'll have to keep that gag on for the rest of his life. I'm sure that's going to happen.
And keep him away from a pencil and paper as well.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp in this. Do you think he got away? He's on the loose still? Or?
Can only hope. See, there's so much you could do with this character. He could have been planning for the last 40 years.
It'd be great. So now we cut back to Fisk Tower, and again we see Kingpin looking like a hard-boiled egg. And, how does it end, Jank? Take us through the last page here.
His secretary comes in. He's like, don't worry, I'm not given to punishing messengers. Hildy, make your report. And she gives her report here that, Kilgrave has been taken in. Heinrich has also been captured. So he's gone. So you might as well just pack it in now if Heinrich's gone. What do you have? Nothing. All the super types got away unharmed. Guess you blew it. I wouldn't say that to the Kingpin.
I know. The secretary's a little lippy here.
Yeah. Brass balls on this chick. Hope you aren't angry with me. And he's like, curse them all. And then he basically says they may beat me time and time again, but all I gotta do is win one time. And then it's all over.
Just once.
Just wait for Born Again.
And the final panel is a close-up of Kingpin's eye, and it's Spider-Man's face in his eye.
Yeah.
He's so obsessed with Spider-Man. And it says, the end for now.
It's always weird because, depending on which book you're reading, he's either very obsessed with Daredevil or very obsessed with Spider-Man. How do you have time for both of these?
Well, at this point in time, it was all Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because he really didn't become a Daredevil guy until after this. But not...
Yeah, it was during Miller's run, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, but not till
especially
later.
After the Vanessa thing where she was living in the sewers or whatever.
Yeah, but this was real close to when Miller actually started. So yeah, it wasn't until a little bit later. But Kingpin we've talked about this before, me and Mike L. But Kingpin is one of those rare villains who started out as one guy's villain, and now he's more synonymous with another guy.
Yeah,
because he started out Spider-Man, but yeah, he's clearly Daredevil's main foe.
Yeah. He works better there because he's a little bit more grounded. When he was a Spider-Man villain, it was a lot more cartoony. I feel like he would have a lot of trick canes and I read this what if or Spider-Cast before where he had he had set up a Ferris wheel thing where one of the cars could fly and shit. He was attacking Spider-Man from that. It's what are we doing?
Yeah, he's definitely. He's a crime boss, street level crime boss. That's Daredevil,
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yep. Very fitting.
So there it is, Marvel Team Up Annual 4 from 1981. The first and only appearance of Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. I wanted to like this more than I did. I'll put it that way. I liked it.
Yeah.
I wanted this to be a 10 out of 10 for me. But Herb Trimpe's art,
Yeah. It was rough at times.
But also...
that one page especially.
Yeah, and Frank Miller's writing is not top-notch here either, in terms of just the dialogue and the plot holes occasionally.
I mean, it's not good Frank Miller, but it's way better than the bad Frank Miller, his All-Star Batman or something like that, or the Dark Knight sequels. So it's not that, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I never read any of those. My whole Frank Miller knowledge comes from Wolverine, the limited series, and his Daredevil run. So I think Frank Miller is the greatest of greats.
Yeah,
I've never read any of his other stuff, so. Well, I guess the Elektra miniseries that was bad. Remember the first?
At least the first one was good.
The first issue was great, and then every issue after that was terrible. So, yeah, I still think Frank Miller's awesome. So when I read this, it's like, oh, this is terrible. This is really bad. This does, like I said, this feels like it's Stan Lee, Wally Wood, 1964 Daredevil book, not 1981. Frank Miller.
That's fair. Yeah, it's not what you would expect from Frank Miller, but at the same time, I didn't think it was terrible. Like, it was fun.
It's not terrible. It's solid.
Yeah.
You know, it has a pretty decent little plot there, you know, getting all the heroes together and to kill him with Purple Man and Kingpin pulling the strings. And I liked all that. Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
So I still like this, but I was slightly disappointed.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see where you're coming from on that one.
I'll still probably give it a 7 just because of Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
Yeah, I was going to give it an 8 because of Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. He was so good.
so
give it that extra point.
Just Daredevil's characterization in this. This is not what I like. This is not my Daredevil.
No. Yeah, clearly they were still finding him. Yeah. It's crazy because, like, even after, like, once Frank Miller left, there was kind of a lull until he came back in Daredevil before he came back for Born Again. And then kind of Ann Nocenti took over and it was still pretty good for a while.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of bad Daredevil for a long time.
Yes, there was. Wow, I lose track of all time, but it's probably about 6 years ago now. I read all the early Daredevils. I started issue 1 and went all the way up to whatever. And the early Daredevils were bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why it was on the brink of cancellation.
Yeah. It's not good. So.
Yeah.
All right, there it is. Marvel Team Up issue or annual 4. All right, Jank, so next week it's your pick.
All right. Well, I figured I would kind of go off of what you did this week and, kind of flow into the next thing and also do a team up of sorts of different Marvel characters here. We did Marvel Team Up this week, so I figured next week we would take a look at issue number 2 of Fantastic Four versus the X-Men.
Hey.
1987.
Yeah, I had this. Like, this was right when I was buying comic books as a child. And
these are some great covers.
I had this right when it came out. I'm trying to remember who did the covers on this book.
I know John Bogdanov did the inside art. I think he may have done the covers as well.
I think that's who I was thinking of. So, yeah, he probably did.
Yeah, sounds right.
But it's crazy. I can't even really remember. This was right after, going off memory, I believe this is right after the Mutant Massacre, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah, they're trying to I think they're going to the Fantastic Four to help them.
Kitty Pryde.
Yep.
Because Kitty Pryde.
Stuck intangible.
She was stuck as even more than just intangible. Like, she was like a mist or something, right? I remember they had her in a tube, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, they had to keep her molecules together or something. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I remember some of this. And I remember Franklin Richards was on one of the covers crying.
I think that's this one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Is Dr. Doom involved in all this?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because right around the same time, maybe shortly after this, they had an X-Men vs. Avengers as well.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And I think I like that one better. But
I read that one a long time ago. I don't remember how I liked it or not.
So, all right, yeah, I can't remember anything about this, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
All right, so that's next week, X-Men versus Fantastic Four, or what is it, Fantastic Four versus X-Men, or?
Yeah, Fantastic Four versus X-Men.
Number 2 from 1987.
Yeah, Chris Claremont and John Bogdanov.
All right, so that'll be good. And again, listen to us on Spotify, Apple, whatever. Also, the YouTube videos are back.
Yeah, so, you can see some terrible artwork if you go on over there.
Herb Trimpe's Thanksgiving Day Spiderman balloon. Featured prominent.
But you can also see, Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp. So
that's right. There's
you get some good, you get some bad.
Heinrich von SchnickleSchnapp.
There you have. Back to life.
So, all right. Until next week, Don't get any jank on you.